Well, this was a heart-stopping moment from earlier today in practice 6. Warren Luff with no brakes at all at the top of Mountain Straight, hitting Craig Lowndes. Luckily, both drivers walked away. Now, good news for Craig Lowndes. The team are confident that his car will be right to make the shootout. Not so good news for Garth Tander and Warren Luff. Their car cannot be fixed. Tander, who was 9th yesterday, due out in the shootout this afternoon. His place will now be taken by James Courtney. So there is good news and bad news for fans of the Holden Racing team. Tander out, Courtney into the top 10 shootout, and a mixed bag for them. But the good news is both drivers okay. Now, it's been a great season so far in the Dunlop series, and they're about to have their longest ever race at Mount Panorama, 250 kilometres or 41 laps. Now, there are 10 Dunlop drivers backing up in tomorrow's Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. So today's race becomes an all-important hit-out. We're minutes away from the start, so let's join Greg Murphy and Aaron Noonan.
And Barrett, there's some tired drivers. They've been doing some sessions between the Dunlop series and also getting ready for the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Cars are on the warm-up lap. We have 27 starters. Paul Dumbrell will start from pole position, but let's check in with Chad Nailon, who is in the best position possible at the Cooper's Cloud9 bar. Chad, that looks a little bit too comfortable for my liking.
This is just fantastic news. I tell you what, you probably can't ask for a better seat in the house here today, and you can't say that we haven't got absolutely every angle covered so far today. The Cooper's Cloud9 bar, it's at the approach through the chase, 300 k's an hour, and these guys ripping through, and anything can happen down here at the chase, and anything could happen here over 41 laps. And check this out, the atmosphere around here, the car's over my shoulder, but hey, everybody up on the top deck, this is a two-story party on wheels. We've got live music happening down here, just a few frothies going down here at the moment, lots of these Cooper's Milds. Cooper's Mild seems to be the choice, the beverage of choice right now, Noons, because I think 41 laps, you've got to pace yourself. Like these drivers, you can't go too hard too early, you don't want to crash. So I think over the case of about 90 minutes that this race should take, we're going to see a lot of tired guys out there on the track and maybe a few tired guys up here at the Cooper's Cloud9 bar. But I think this is just about the prime time to run to the fridge, grab a Cooper's and join the lounge.
Chad, behave. You've got some races to call this afternoon before the top 10 shootout. We're getting ready for this 41-lap race. The overall pole position for the first time this year has gone to Paul Dumbrell, the Royal Wolf Commodore from Eggleston Motorsport. 2 minutes 6.9, a new Dunlop Series qualifying record around the mountain in this X888 car. This is actually the car that Craig Lowndes and Mark Scape won the race with a couple of years back. $500 for PD. He is a happy man, and he starts up the front. The first pole for him in this series in 12 years. Remember, he's a former champion. You'll notice as we run through the grid, Greg, there are a couple of drivers who've elected to take on a co-driver. Andre Heimgartner is one of them. Steve Owen will be his co-driver. Tony D'Alberto, of course, he's in the Super Cheap car for the main race. He's with young Josh Keane in one of the ex-Holden Racing Team cars. And the Swede Frederick Lestrup is the third of the co-drivers who'll be involved in this race.
Well, we have pit stops. The green flag is already waving at the back of the grid. They're getting ready to go. There will be pit stops in this race, a first for the Dunlop Development Series here at Bathurst.
We'll run you through how that will unfold. Away we go. Yellow flag to the back, slow away. Car stalled, Brett Hobson. It's Paul Dumbrell, though, and Chris Pither, the Ice Break Coffee Commodore, that will run second through turn 1. 27 cars for this 250-kilometre race. They need to take it easy. It is a long way. There's a fuel stop and a tyre stop to come. We'll run you through how that will unfold. This is the longest race most of these drivers have done. It's a long, long run. Andrew Jones in third is defending already from Cameron Waters in that NZ Ford Performance Racing car. First time up the hill, now it's about settling down, finding rhythm, finding some road and getting rolling.
Absolutely, this is a long race. There's a lot of guys in here, as you say, are going to be doing the big race tomorrow. But there's a lot of drivers in here who've never probably competed at this length of race before, and it is at Bathurst. PD leads the way. He's very comfortable. He's got a big job to do tomorrow. This, for him, is just a warm-up, I'm sure.
First time across the top of McPhillamy Park. And they drop on down. There's Ash Walsh, remember, car number 87. He's fighting for the championship with Paul Dumbrell. They are just 4 points apart coming into this race with 300 on the line for the win. So this one could make or break the championship with 1 round to go in Sydney.
As as we've seen already this weekend, very easy to make a mistake. Paul Dumbrell got through the Forest elbow very quickly. He saw the left front of that wheel cocking up. He was pushing hard. He's got a bit of a breather already over Chris Pither. He'll set himself into a rhythm. First time through the chase. Close on 300 k's an hour. They all flow through. Peterson a little bit wide.
And the irony is it's Andre Heimgartner right behind him. They're teammates in the Super Black car for tomorrow's big race. But these two young teammates, they're having their own fight here for position. Lap one down. Car slow on a pit straight. Gary Jacobson got a bit of a bad run there, so he'll have to block that inside line. His teammate tries to go the long way around, but at the line it's Dumbrell. The margin 1.1 seconds. This is a good fight in the tail end of the top 10, but we're off and rolling in this 250-kilometre race. A change of format, pit stops. Lots of these guys have not done pit stops. They practiced them in the warm-up this morning. Each team is paired with a V8 Supercar Championship team who will look after the refuelling, the car controller, but the Dunlop Series teams must provide the tyre changes. Now, this is Dan Day, one of the debutants. Look like the right rear is down on the Street Fighter Commodore, one of the young guns from South Australia who is making his debut. But they have to take on 80 litres of fuel, Greg, minimum at the stop, and change all 4 tyres. And the 2 Dunlop Series crew members, one to do the rears, one to do the fronts, but it's tyres first and then fuel. It's like a GT race, so they can't do both at the same time.
No, they're keeping that separate. It's a little bit of a test to see how that plays out. I think it's a good thing for these guys. It's a safety situation as well, but giving the responsibility of the fueling to the teams that are doing it the most often, obviously the main game series guys, they'll be plugging into those cars and controlling that. This is getting pretty tight here. Jacobson's quite slow across the top. Peterson's got his headlights on. Heimgartner's looking for an advantage. So it's pretty racy here early. A little bit of a lump from the inside of the Finance Easy Falcon. On to Conrod now.
Having these 2 Eggleston Motorsport cars running together is an important point because they are not allowed to stack for their pit stops here in this 250-kilometre race. So it's 1 car in at a time. You can see Dan Day here in pit lane. This is one of the ex-Walkinshaw Racing cars. It's the car Nick Percat won with here a couple of years ago in that great fight with Chaz Mostert. Have a look at the fight here, though. Dumbrell is under fire from Chris Pither.
Well, I think he must have made a mistake there at the chase, Aaron. And Pither is all over him.
That time across the line. Dumbrell 11.4, Pither 10.5. So that is where 9/10 has gone. And Dumbrell looks edgy at turn 1 there. Remember, Chris Pither's driving a Brad Jones Racing prepared car in this Icebreak Coffee car. So it's BJR, the main game team, that will service the BJR DVS car. So having a team that is in both categories works well for Unison. It works well for understanding process in the background. Cameron Waters putting the pressure on Andrew Jones. There's been no doubt this year Cam is quick, but he's made too many mistakes. He's crashed. He's made just a couple too many errors. This is the stage to settle it down. It's lap 3 of 41.
Yeah, and Jones gave him no room there. He moved right across to the right-hand side of the track. Under no illusion was he going to give Cam Waters a replay of the start. They get away pretty cleanly in their positions. Nothing too much untoward going into turn 1. Everyone taking it nice and easy, making sure they get away cleanly. Here's a bit of a replay down at the chase.
Oh, there's the contact. That's Macaulay Jones, who Day got involved with in a new livery, Rockstar Commodore, car number 12.
Well, Day's made a bit of a mistake. He was coming way too deep. Couldn't pull the car up. And reasonably heavy contact there on the right front.
Safety car. Safety car's going out, Greg, as we look at this replay of young Macaulay Jones. First time at Bathurst in a V8. The son, of course, of Team BOC owner Brad Jones.
And a great new livery there. Rockstar Energy Drink on the BJR Commodore. Little replay here.
This is the Dumbrell drama down at the chase. There he is, a little bit wide. Similar to what he did in the main race last year.
So he's carried a little bit too much speed. We're going to see a replay here into the wall.
Oh, Marcus Zukanovic's in the fence.
I have seen that happen before.
Oh, yes, you have. 12 months ago. That's a shame. And the safety car is on the road. The former V8U champ is done, and that's caused massive, massive damage. We'll get this cleaned up and come back soon. Top of the mountain at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. It is all about the Dunlop series at the moment, and we are still under safety car at the moment. Paul Dumbrell is the leader as we get Marcus Zukanovic's car cleaned up and towed away. But let's head down to pit lane. Rihanna Green's with us for this race. And Rihanna, you're with a lady who's going to join this series next year. Some great news breaking today at Bathurst.
You said it right there. Breaking news that we have, that we can bring to you right now. Renee Gracie, who's currently in the Porsche Carrera Cup Series, will be joining the Dunlop Series in 2015. Renee, exciting news that you can tell us today.
Yeah, extremely exciting. It's definitely a step that I've been wanting to take now, being in Porsche. Dunlop's definitely been something that we've been looking towards. So I'm extremely excited for 2015 and can't wait to jump in.
And Fujitsu, your current sponsor, will be joining you on the grid next year. Can you tell us anything about the car?
I don't know much yet, unfortunately, but I know I've been told the car will stand out. Fujitsu have been a great help and support, obviously 2 years in the Porsche and now in the development series. So they've been great help and I'm really looking forward to it.
This is obviously very important in your stepping stone to one day make it the first female in the V8 Supercar Series full-time.
Yeah, so obviously Dunlop is something that I have to kind of tackle to get to the V8. So it's one step closer to my dream of racing in the V8 Supercars. So yeah, it's extremely exciting, and I guess it's a stepping stone that I've been wanting to take for a while, and obviously hopefully get there in the near future. So I'm stoked.
Thanks very much for your time, Renee, and good luck next year.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Rihanna. We'll see Renee in action this afternoon in Porsche Carrera Cup. Let's have a look at the highlights of what we've had so far of this Dunlop Series race. Hasn't been a great deal. There's been more safety car laps than green. Paul Dumbrell made the jump. The Royal Wolf Commodore was off and rolling. Chris Pither chasing. Dan Day made a mistake. A couple of rookies getting together. He and Macaulay Jones down at Caltech's chase. Day ended up in pit lane with some repairs required. And then there's Marcus Zukanovic. Plows the fence. Jeff Emery somehow didn't, and that is why the safety car's out. Marcus could at least wave and say that he was okay. His car, though, is not, so hence why we are under the control of the safety car and rolling around the mountain, because the real tricky part there, Greg, was that car plucked the fuel tank out, so it's leaked a lot of fuel out. I know you've got a big day tomorrow, but will you be awake tonight? I think you should be. Shannon's Legends of Motorsport Marathon, 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. on 7, mate. That's the best way. That's the best way. It is the best way for you to prepare for a big day at the mountain tomorrow.
I'm not going to miss that. I will be up all night preparing.
All the legends. Alan Moffat will be there. Jim Richards. Some of the great shows that we've brought to you so far this year. You can relive them. Plenty of Bathurst memories as well to get you in the mood for a big day tomorrow at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. So we're on lap 6 of 41. This is a 250-kilometre race, and it's a chance for these guys, Greg, to reset their brain and have almost a whole new start.
Yeah, take a little breather, have a little drink. Hopefully the drink systems are working in the car. She'll be getting hot in there behind the safety car with no airflow going through them. So it's been a few laps now. The clean-up has taken place. As you said before, Aaron, there was a lot of fuel dumped on the side of the track just at the exit where these cars are here, just under the Fujitsu bridge. So Marcus Zukanovic luckily got out of that unscathed. But we have seen a lot of cars in the fence this weekend. The track has been tricky. The surface, brand new, beautifully smooth, but it has been delivering some interesting situations on the track. There's a great shot of the 7-camera chopper, giving us some amazing pictures this weekend.
And right there is the sort of shot that you can see. That's the run over Brock's Skyline, of course, named in honour of the 9-time Bathurst 1000 winner. And as this safety car field rolls on around, but I tell you what, if you're a bit of a Peter Brock fan, I tell you what, when it comes to merchandise and memorabilia, have a look at this. You can have your own Peter Brock trophy. Of course, it was first created back in 2006 when we lost the King of the Mountain. It's what they're racing for tomorrow. You can have your own replica Peter Brock trophy at the shop.v8supercars.com.au website. And then this Peter Brock lithogram showing all of his 9 wins and those memorable moments that have really stayed with us all. And a piece of jacket from his last Bathurst.
Get me one of those.
You should get you one of them, Gregory.
One of them. That's pretty cool.
That'll look good on the wall.
And I also want to get one of those trophies, but the big one.
You want the big one? Well, you have your chance. Come tomorrow alongside James Courtney in the number 22 HRT Commodore. Now, restart is coming this time by for the Dunlop Series. Paul Dumbrell will lead us away. Remember, he's one of 10 drivers on double duty in the Dunlop Series and tomorrow's big race. Brad Jones, he's got 3 cars in this race. He's got 3 cars in the main race tomorrow. He's got 3 cars in the shootout this afternoon.
He looks as nervous now. That's what he's going to be tomorrow, I have no doubt. What a great performance yesterday by BJR.
Yeah, they've had a great run and they're sitting pretty near. Chris Pither is second for them. Remember, he co-drives with Dale Wood. who is in the shootout this afternoon.
What a superb performance.
That was awesome. He qualified third, and I think he was screaming on the radio all the way up to turn 2.
I think we didn't have to listen to the radio to hear him screaming. It was a great last second into the shootout moment. It was fantastic. Paul Dumbrell leads them away. The green flags are waving. He's in control. He will accelerate when he feels the need. Everyone else has to follow him. And we can see him go just before the braking zone into the last corner. Chris Pither sticks with him nicely. A little break over Andy Jones. Cam Waters looking for an opportunity. They all run through Haber wide.
I'm impressed with Chris Pither. He's going with Paul Dumbrell. Cole Dunlop tyres, turn 1 awaits, and we start to climb them out, so they really haven't had a chance to get rolling. Here's a story we need to cover. That's Ant Pedersen, the Kiwi. While that safety car was out, he's been in for fuel. He still needs to do a tyre stop under the regulations, but he needs to take on 80 litres of fuel. Waters here going for third, but the point with Pedersen is when he does do his tyres, very short fill of fuel, he'll come back up the order. Watch for car 38 later on. Look at this. Jones under fire. He can't go through there, you know.
I've tried that one too. Hasn't worked.
He's back next year, that guy, you know.
He is back, that guy.
Yeah, that'll be good.
He is.
Can't wait for
Still
that.
get asked about that one. Anyway, they flow through. Cam Waters managed to get himself into third position ahead of Andrew Jones. Walsh is looking racy behind. The 2 leaders. Oh, Jacobson. He used every single bit of road there as they stream over McPhillamy.
Cam Waters in the NZ car. Remember, he teams with Jack Perkins tomorrow. Jack is in the top 10 shootout this afternoon for the Geldwin Charlie Schwerkolt team. Andrew Jones, of course, he's with Jason Bright. He's in the shootout as well. And Ash Walsh, who has not had car pace this weekend in the infantry forward. He's going for a
There's going to be contact.
Got it done. Hey, they had to both yield to get that done.
And Jacobson's going to get a run here on Jones. He was very slow through the apex because of that move by Walsh. There's going to be an aero battle here down the chute. These 2 cars pushing a lot of air.
And that's Andre
Heimgartner. You can see it change here as the Falcon gets in behind Jacobson. He's going to go around the outside of Jones. He's going to lose a couple more spots. That's 3 in the space of the Conrod Straight.
It's a 2-for-1 deal there, and Andre Heimgartner picked the right one to go with. That's Aaron Russell, new backing from Plus Fitness for him in that new look car this weekend. Paul Morris lined up behind, then Todd Hazelwood, then Morgan Haber. So plenty of young guys here. Not too surprising to see pit lane penalty for Dan Day from the contact early on with Macaulay Jones. This is Walsh making the lunge at the elbow, and initially Jones turns in and then goes, ooh, car there, better not keep doing that.
And he was well in there too. Made that decision nice and early, Ash Walsh. He got the car way down the inside. Here he is, getting a little bit of a gap now over Jacobson. And as you said, Pedersen, they came in early, got a little bit of the fuel side of things done, so their next pit stop is going to be a lot shorter. So we'll see how that plays out. Keep an eye on it.
I'm really interested to see how this all falls out because there are composite crews. Todd Hazelwood here putting a move on.
Oh, there's a
Morris. Oh, that was lucky. Very lucky to get away with that one. Morgan Haber now gets the run on the run up the shelf towards the cutting. Just has to lift out of it there. Now he's back into the cutting. Now he's not. That's the smart move. That was the best way to play that one.
Jeff Emery looks on after that very good evasion of Zukanovic when he was in the fence.
Right there.
Right there.
Dumbrell sneaking away, Murph. 9/10 to Chris Pither.
Well, we saw at the start, he got a bit of a gap. He made that mistake down at the chase, which cost him a lot of time, and he took a little bit of time to get the tyres cleaned up again. Pither put the pressure on, but he's just set down a lap time half a second quicker than the BJR driver.
Chaz Mostert watching on. Paul Morris.
I actually don't know if he is.
Oh, I can't see the eyes, but I just thought I'd go with it. But, of course, Paul Morris teams up with him in car 6 for tomorrow's race. They are the most diametrically opposed pair. Chaz has done one in Bathurst. Paul Morris has done a pile of them. And, of course, they start from the back tomorrow because Chaz was excluded for a red flag infringement in qualifying yesterday. There is the black flag on display for Dan Day, who needs to take a pit lane penalty. We're looking here at Josh King. He's teaming up with Tony D'Alberto in the number 3 car. They're 14th at the moment, but we're back to green flag racing at Bathurst. Paul Dumbrell leads the way. He's eyeing another Dunlop Series crown. Let's see how this one rolls. More from Bathurst in just a moment. a big weekend at Mount Panorama. There's so much to see and do. This entire city gets involved. Of course, earlier in the weekend, the Transporter Parade was in town, and even Todd Kelly was driving one. He's downsized for tomorrow's great race in the Jack Daniels Nissan, but plenty of chance to catch up with the drivers, grab plenty of autographs. Some interesting hairstyles on display too.
Don't like that one.
I had a funny feeling you might say that, Gregory. We pick it up in terms of the Dunlop Series, which is rolling on around the mountain. Don't forget, top 10 shootout. We will determine pole position for tomorrow's big race live today, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Make sure you are bolted to the couch for that one, because the pace has been electrifying this weekend with this new surface. This is a replay at the Chase. Brett Stewart here. Oh, with Dan Day. That's close. That's 285 k's an hour. Ash Walsh, championship challenger in the fence. This is at Reed Park, the approach to McPhillamy. He's gone in the fence.
At the exit of Reed Park there, coming out of the dip after the grate. He's gone into the fence, a little bit like David Reynolds yesterday. Damage to the cars reasonably significant. That is a huge situation.
That's the Matt Stone Racing team. They're paired up for the pit stops with Dick Johnson Racing, hence why they're in the Wilson Security Garage.
You can see Ash getting out of the car.
This could be, Greg, championship over. If Dumbrell wins the race, gets 300 points, Ash gets none. He was 4 down coming in. Dumbrell would be 304 in front with only 300 to get in Sydney. Dumbrell would win the championship right here, right now.
This is devastating for Ash Walsh. She's been doing a great job all year, working really hard. He's had some ups and downs, some of them not his fault too. Here's Cam Waters, they're diving for the pits. The safety car has been deployed.
And this is interesting, Greg, because we've gone 10 laps completed. They will get about 25 laps out of a tank of fuel. They're running the 120-litre tank in this car. So he won't make it to the end on fuel, but he'll get his 4 tyres done. This is a really interesting play by the boys at Ford Performance Racing. You'll see that they're using the Super Black team boom down the other end of pit lane. What you'll see now is where these teams and drivers pair up with the main championship teams of who services their car. Remember, Dunlop team provides 2 tyre changes. Main Gain team provides the fueling. Oh, we saw Peter Brock do this one day. He nearly catches it. Nearly.
So close to what happened to David Reynolds as well. He was very wide coming down to the grate. The rear stepped out on that car, and there he got the grass.
Yeah, that really is a shame. He's done a good job this year, runner-up in last year's championship. He'll drive with Scott Pye for Dick Johnson's team tomorrow. They were 5th at Sandown a few weeks ago. So there's Cam Waters. He's taken service in the NZ car. Paul Morris has been in. Pit lane's getting busy.
Just here with Chaz Mostert watching on to the Dunlop Series. Chaz, so similar, that accident of Ash Walsh to your one last year, and of course David Reynolds this weekend. Now let's talk about you in the qualifying yesterday, excluded from the qualifying session, passing a car under a red flag. You unfortunately will be starting the race from last position, but positive spin on that. It has been done before, and it's going to make for an interesting race.
Yeah, for sure. Made a bad driver call yesterday, passed the car under a red flag condition, which is definitely no-go. So, yeah, my fault. And, yeah, you know, we got a pretty good race car. So 26 a long way back. We were same position last year in the Greens Tough Falcon at DJR, but the car wasn't quite right after crash it. So this year we're making baby steps. We've got a straight car. The car's pretty quick in race mode. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do. Keep it clean, and it's a long day. And like you said, it's been done before. So fingers crossed.
I love your optimism, Chad. Good luck.
Good. That's good. Thank you.
So Ash Walsh's car removed from where it's crashed. And really interesting to see how that's played out, because Cam Waters came in, Paul Morris came in. Remember that they've done 10, they've got 30 to go. You can get 25 laps on a tank. We have a time certain finish though, so they're rolling the dice and playing the game differently to those up the front. There's no doubt that Paul Dumbrell has the fastest car at the moment. Hearing we're going to get a restart next time by Greg. So as we touched on, Ash Walsh, the championship contender, who was fighting with Paul Dumbrell, is out of the race. That's what's caused this second safety car period. And if Dumbrell wins, he banks 300 points. He was 4 coming in. There's only 300 on the line in the last round on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. So Paul Dumbrell could become a two-time Dunlop Series champion today here at Bathurst. 12 years since he won his first one when he was at the other end of the V8 career pathway on the way up.
Well, a fair bit's happened since then. He's also won a Bathurst 1000 as well with JB Win Cup. And this year, he's done the double at Sandown, won the Sandown 500 again. So his career has gone a long way since back in those days, and now he's going to reverse, go back to the future, I suppose, and potentially win another one if he gets to the finish line first. Is a replay, and Pedersen just taking the shortcut down at the chase, not the fast way around, digging a bit of dirt. And the Eagleton Motorsport Commodore continues on. So a few pit stops have happened. A few people rolling the dice. Some different strategies in play. Only 10 laps completed. We're on the 11th now. We should be coming round for the restart. Paul Dumbrell, he's having to do it all over again. Here's the safety car. The Peter safety car is driving away from the field. He's holding the speed at around 80 k's an hour. He's under control now. As soon as that, there's Tony D'Alberto getting ready for the driver change with Josh Keane. Yep, he'll jump into car number 3 at the stop. And remember that Tony's co-driving with Tim Slade in the main race tomorrow. But because we've had a couple of safety cars, it's compressed the field. So for the guys who have to change drivers are a little bit disadvantaged because the field will be compressed when it comes time to make their stop. But it's Paul Dumbrell who will lead us back to the control line. Chris Pither has been pretty pacey to go with him on cold tyres. Third in the queue is Gary Jacobson. Then it's Andre Heimgartner. Remember, Steve Owen is waiting to take over that car. Then Andrew Jones. There's Aaron Russell. Podium finish for him in the last round at Queensland Raceway. Lots of confidence coming into this 41-lap enduro. Behind him on the road, Morgan Haber, Jeff Emery, Jack LeBrock bouncing back. He crashed badly yesterday. They've worked hard to repair that car, get it on the road. Josh Keane is 10th. The man in 11th we haven't touched on yet, Ryle Harris, the V8 Ute champion, making his Dunlop Series debut. He crashed yesterday as well. He's running 11th at the moment. There's a lot of tired crews out there after this weekend so far, Aaron, in the Dunlop Development Series as well as the main game. A lot of cars that have touched the fence at some stage. But it's good to see this field. Strong field with some new guys in it, as you said, learning the ropes here at Bathurst in a V8 supercar. And you just saw Ant Pedersen go through car 38, remember? He's made some road. He's made some ground here. This has been pretty interesting to see where he's ended up after some of those other guys on that second safety car chose to go to the pit lane as well. So the moral of the story there is later on he's got less fuel to take on to meet his 80-litre minimum requirement that they must all take on in this race. Cam Waters is not far behind him on the road, so they're well placed because the field's been compressed again by a safety car. So Dumbrell running hard out front. And remember, Eagleton Motorsport that Paul drives for is closely connected to Red Bull Racing Australia. Not just because Paul is an endurance driver there. These are X888 cars. They all fit together. It makes sense. And the guys at Red Bull will service this car. It's a bit of an advantage to have. Having teams like that know the cars, know how it all works, go to work on your car. Paul knows the crew. He's going to arrive there in the pit lane. They know he's going to get on the marks strongly. Runs wide. That's Matt Hansen. Hansen goes off at the chase. Waters gains another spot. Cam Waters has already made a pit stop. Paul Morris has already pitted as well. They won't have enough fuel to get to the end if it runs the full 41 laps. He's now going to get a run on Hector as well. He gets another spot, so he gets a clean run down to turn 1 to start this lap. He's got a big gap in front of him. Now it's time to try and make the time on the track on those guys that haven't stopped. The safety car has worked as an advantage at the moment. We'll see if that can benefit him, if he can get some clean laps and do some good times to pull up behind these guys ahead of him that haven't had a pit stop so far. Heimgartner still working away on the back of Jacobson. He hasn't managed to get past the Eagleton Motorsport driver as we look to see an engine change going on there at Jack Perkins' car down at FPR. So this is the race engine for tomorrow going in ahead of the top 10 shootout. Not helping. That's not unusual for a driver, though. They don't let us touch the cars, mate. Probably a good thing. Of course, he gets his go in the top 10 shootout. That's great news. Great news for Jack and Charlie Schwerkoff. He's been down this year. He's been really struggling.
but he's got an opportunity to be on the grand stage at Mount Panorama. This is Ryle Harris at the top of the hill, double duty for Ryle this weekend in V8 Utes, and that's Ant Pedersen just behind him, the first of the cars that has made a stop. It is really interesting. The strategy is really open in this one at Bathurst. Paul Dumbrell leads the way, but there's a long way to go. Back at Bathurst with the Dunlop Series, Paul Dumbrell leads the way as the fights continue. This is the battle for third and fourth. Don't forget the Legends of Motorsport for Shannon's Marathon tomorrow morning, 1 a.m. through to 7 a.m. on 7 Mate. The perfect way to get started for your big day at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. This is Cam Waters putting the pressure on Ryle Harris. He's got the left passenger window starting to pop out of the side of the NZ Ford, or has it popped out now? A little bit hard to tell from that shot. Still there, just. Yep. So he would want that to blow out, because if it stays like that, that will attract attention.
I think it already has, because you just spoke about it.
Well, yeah, I probably haven't helped the situation.
The video, or the TV shot is on that car of that window.
Car 56 from Ford to car 56 Lodge, and passenger window is drifted. It looks like it's coming half out. You can check that next lap.
Tim Schenken in race control, keeping an eye on the situation. This is the fight for third. Gary Jacobson, Andre Heimgartner, Andrew Jones. This is the longest race the Dunlop Series has ever done before. Announced a few months ago that we would change the format for this weekend to a 41-lap enduro. I mean, you've got to factor they did 2 races here last year and they did 25 laps of racing, so it's more track time for them. It's more chances to learn about doing the longer stints, because they all want to get to the point where they're driving in the big race on Sunday. Just as the man you saw on screen there, Steve Owen, is. Remember, he drives with Mark Winterbottom in the number 5 Pepsi Max crew car tomorrow as Frosty looks to go back-to-back here on the mountain. And Steve Owen's been there, he's done it, he's been with all the big teams over the years. He's one of the prime signings, and that's why Andre Heimgartner has got him in here to help him out in a Finance Easy Ford. And for Steve, it's good too. More laps in a familiar car. This is an ex-Ford Performance Racing Falcon.
Absolutely, and that's why they're doing it. Get a few extra laps, get in tune just that little bit more, so he's all ready to go. Steve Owen, he's got the helmet on, waiting for Andre Heimgartner. I'll tell you what, Chris Pivot is doing a really good job. He's closed that gap just a little bit to Paul Dumbrell. Matching times for the last couple of laps, so very impressive. They were less than a 10th apart that last lap, so the gap is exactly 1 second. But Chris Pither showing really good pace and putting a bit of pressure on the championship leader.
It's been a step up this year for Chris Pither. He won the round at Townsville, his first round win. He qualified in the front row here. It's the best he's ever qualified in the Dunlop Series, and he's keeping this pressure on Paul Dumbrell. That's 1 and 2. This is 3, 4 and 5. Gary Jacobson, Andre Heimgartner, Andrew Jones, the Freightliner Commodore. There's Aaron Russell in the Blue Falcon. Morgan Havers 7th. Jack LeBrock here in 8th in the Image Falcon. Then Ant Pedersen, he's 9th. Josh Keane under fire here from Jeff Emery. Not quite going to get that done.
And Waters is being held up. He's losing a lot of time here behind these guys. 2 minutes 12 the last time round.
And that window's gone too, Greg.
He's up the inside of Emery. Cool, heading up to the cutting. He gives him room. Moves out of the way, does Jeff Emery. Lets the hard charger from Mildura go. The window's gone, so he won't have to worry about that anymore. Get a little bit more fresh air flowing through the car.
More importantly, you won't get someone to pit lane to have it removed, which is why they were keeping an eye on it. So remember that this number 56 Ford, it's run by Ford Performance Racing. It's already been to the pit lane, so Cam will only need a splash of fuel to get him to the end, because they're good on a tank for about 25 laps. They need to take on 80 litres minimum and change 4 tyres at some stage during this race. So it's a real strategic play. There's no pit stop windows, there's no minimums or maximums in terms of that. It really leaves it nice and open.
This is the catch. You go back in the field, you lose track position, and at this stage he's losing a lot of time to the guys in front who are pulling away. Yes, they've got to do a longer pit stop. He's already got most of it out of the way, but he still has to go to the pits, and this is costing him time.
It's got him back into the top 10 here, Cam Waters, so he's keeping it rolling. Paul Dumbrell's rolling too. He's got the margin of 2.1 seconds. We'll take a break from Bathurst. Make sure you rejoin us soon.
It has been a fantastic Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 weekend so far, and the crowds are out in big numbers. Lots of fans coming from not only all over Australia, but internationally as well, to enjoy this great weekend of motorsport. It is famous not only in Australia, but right around the world as well. And they come in all ages and sizes and facial hair descriptions as well. It's a great weekend. Just a reminder too, the top 10 shootout is coming up in about 3 hours' time, and updating, the number 2 HRT Commodore is out for the whole weekend. So Garth Tander is out of the top 10 shootout. It means that James Courtney jumps up from 11th into 10th and into the shootout, guys.
Yeah, Barretts, and we should point out too that the reasoning there is because Garth's car has been withdrawn from the weekend, so that opens up a slot. We've seen in the past cars have dramas. This is a drama at the cutting. Aaron Tabb loses the rear window, the rear wing, left rear bumper.
That's a reasonably heavy impact there on the rear. Oh, just lost it a turn. But he did well to get it round. No safety car required. And here's a pass. Heimgartner on Gary Jacobson at turn 2.
For third spot.
He's given him some room. They're racing up to the cutting. I've seen that happen before too. Oh, Heimgartner sideways. Wow.
I remember the bloke in the blue Falcon nearly went over that wall.
Look, he didn't do this. That.
Good save.
That is one way to get round the cutting.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I was looking at the sectors wondering why they were quite slow on that lap, and Andre Heimgartner was set free. He's managed to get past Gary Jacobson. Now is going to be a bit of a test to see what speed he has in the Easy Finance Falcon. So far, he's been held up behind there for quite a long time. Gary Jacobson doing a very good job.
Good fight here. Todd Hazelwood trying to get a move on Ryle Harris.
And Paul Morris putting a move on Jeff Emery down at the last turn.
A couple of different liveries to get you across this weekend. The pink and black Commodore in the background there. It's Tim Macro making a return to the Dunlop Series. He's driving for the R-Sport team now. He was with the Dragon team earlier on in the year. So this is just outside the 10. Josh Keane in 13th place. He'll hand over to Tony D'Alberto at the stop now. These are the guys that have been to the lane already, and they're having their own fight. Ant Pedersen and Cameron Waters are 8th and 9th. They've been in for a pit stop. They will need to come in again, but it will be for a short splash of fuel. They will therefore meet their 80-litre minimum, but the guys up front of the queue, Dumbrell, Pither, Heimgartner, who haven't been in yet, have to take 80 litres minimum and change tyres. These guys, who are some 25 seconds off the lead at the moment, they have to only take on a little bit of fuel and should be able to get and go.
Yeah, they've done their tyre change, so it's going to be really interesting to see that time difference. They probably haven't made as much as what they needed to, and Cam Waters, though, has lost a little bit out, but he's now caught up to Ant Pedersen. He's clearly a little bit faster. Will he be able to clear the Emerson Motorsport driver and move up and gain that little bit more time before the pit stops happen? He's working pretty hard, the NZ Falcon, looking pretty pacey.
Just doing some sums, Greg, on where this should all play out in terms of things. Obviously, they're not going to be able to leapfrog a Dumbrell or anything, but it probably will launch them out to about 3rd, 4th or 5th. But if they get a safety car then, that closes them on in.
Exactly right. Down Conrod on lap 19. Not quite half distance. Waters looking. He'd look to go to the inside. Had a bit of a snake going on there. Under brakes. Pedersen a little bit wide. Hasn't been able to do anything about it though, Waters. Oh, he's heading for the pit lane.
So, with 21 laps left to go, Cam Waters is coming in again in NZ4. Gary Jacobson's in. Andrew Jones is in. So now it's about the pit crews. Remember, the Dunlop Series teams are paired up with main championship teams. The main championship teams will refuel cars. They'll be the jackman, the fire extinguisher, the car controller. Remember though, Cam is already good in terms of tyres. You can't do both at the same time. They're laid up and ready down at Eggleston Motorsport. Ben Eggleston, one of the co-owners himself, he's the guy changing the rear tyres. Talk about getting in there and getting involved.
The left front was a bit slow to come off. Lost a little bit of time. Andrew Jones, BJ Out team going to work as well. Here's Cam Waters coming down the pit lane. He's put that fuel in, and he's travelling. Now remember, the car at the front here still has to put fuel in as well.
Remember the Cam, though, will be on the tyres that he changed to earlier on, so he's got a long way to get home from here. Tyres done on Gary Jacobson's car. Tyre changes are back over the red line, so refuelling can now commence. That is being looked after by the Red Bull Racing Australia mechanics for Eggleston Motorsport.
Well, this has worked pretty good for Cam Waters.
Yep, definitely.
Andrew Jones has managed to get out in front of Jacobson as well. Those guys on the wheels were a fair bit quicker than the Eggleston crew. It's cost these guys a lot.
The moral to the story in this race is the same for tomorrow's race. Make your last stop the shortest possible that you can make it. That's what they've been able to do for Cam Waters. Gary Jacobson now is released back onto the road on cold tyres. Yep, cold tyres. Got to bring them back up to temperature. No tyre warmers permitted in any form of V8 supercar racing. Remember that they run in the Dunlop series, the older generation car, so the smaller tyre, the 17-inch that was the staple diet of V8 supercar racing for so many years. And now second place into the lane, Chris Pither and the Ice Break Coffee Commodore. Paul Dumbrell is still on the road. The lead was some 8 odd seconds. But the thing with this team is Brad Jones Racing run a car, this car, for instance, in the Dunlop series. So very au fait with how this all plays out.
And they serviced Andrew Jones's car very quickly. So here he is. No crew outside until he comes to a complete stop. The wheel guys go to work. The jack man gets the car up in the air.
This is a good stop. That's a really nice start.
Yeah, these guys are pretty well practiced, no question about that. As soon as they're done,
they've got to get the tyres back over the line. Little delay on the right rear.
Fumble there on the right rear.
Let's get in here so if we can have a close look at this pit stop. So Heimgartner out, Owen in. Now he'll get in there. The elastic, I don't know if you can see, will hold the belts back out of the road. There you go, 1, 2. He'll bring the other one over his shoulder. 3, that's why it's called a 6-point harness. 4, right to go. Now we've got an issue here.
And you'll notice too, Larko, no driver assist is required in the Dunlop series. Anyone with a co-driver, the outgoing driver has to assist them getting in the car. They can't have a crew member like they can in the main race tomorrow afternoon.
Well, I thought they did a pretty good job of that, boys, because the other rule in this one, they've got to, Stevie Owen had to go and stand over behind the red line. He can't stand out here ready. So by the time you got here, what's that, about a 10-metre sprint? That'd knock me up.
Andre Heimgartner is out of the Finance Easy Ford. Steve Owen is now on board. And a little bit of a stall to get away. 2 stalls. Now it gets rolling. And he can quickly get to that pit exit line. Speed limiter off from 40 kilometres per hour and back up to speed, get some temperature in. There up the road is Gary Jacobson. Those 2 cars were together earlier on. So
well, he was ahead of him.
Yeah, they were fighting.
So that wasn't a good pit stop for the Heimgartner car. Steve Owen will make up some time, obviously, behind the wheel, but they have lost a lot of time, and I think Cam Waters has benefited massively from that strategy that they played.
He's going to be on older tyres, though, for the run home, which will be the difficult part. But here is Paul Dumbrell, lap 22, so he hasn't got long before he's going to come in, because he should only be able to get, well, we have had some safety car running, so he's got some time up his sleeve in terms of what fuel he's got on board. He's in the box seat, but this one's got a long way left to play out. It's an important time to come back to Bathurst. Race leader Paul Dumbrell is in the lane. Eggleston Motorsport, Red Bull Racing Australia ready to service this car. The series leader could win the title today if he wins the race. He's got the long run, Greg Murphy, at 40 kilometres per hour, all the way down to the pit box. Just hearing pit lane penalty for Steve Owen. There's been a pit lane infringement from when he took over from Andre Heimgartner, but let's see how the Eggleston team go to work. Tyre change being effected here. Left side first. Just 2 tyre changes are permitted. 1 for the front, 1 for the rear. New rules in the Dunlop series this weekend because they've never done pit stops before. It's all about the tyre change here and then getting the gear back over the red line before things are allowed to proceed.
Well, Eggleston Motorsport will be pretty busy because this is 3 cars they've got to service. This is the last one. There's Cam Waters. He's done all his stops. He comes out of the chase down towards the last corner. There's still fuel to go into Paul Dumbrell's car.
Remember that this is the NZ Ford from Ford Performance Racing. Cam has been in.
This is going to be close, Aaron.
Yeah, definitely. He's already been in earlier on to do top-ups of fuel, and he minimised his second stop time, and it's helped. He's been burning his way through the traffic, and this is where it's at. He's in the game.
He has come out well ahead of Paul Dumbrell. That strategy by coming in under that safety car early on has paid off.
What a day it would be if he could grab the win. Look in the background. Now Aaron Russell took the lead when Dumbrell came on in. He's pitting at the end of lap 23. This team have paired up with the Techno Autosports team for their stops. Ex-Jim Beam Falcon from Dick Johnson's team.
Crew goes to work. No one was outside. Over the pit line.
Larko's in there too.
Stop Larko.
It's a good job. This is a small team from Newcastle. They've done a nice job with this tyre change. Right rear goes on. Get the gear back over the red line. Now that's done. Refueling can begin. The Techno team are paired up with them, who are just pitted in with Brad Jones Racing. This is Cam Waters. Remember, he's the NZ Ford from Ford Performance Racing. There's still, I think it's about 7 drivers yet to make a pit stop. They will physically have to soon because they will not be having too much fuel left in the back of those cars.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Aaron, about the point situation, the championship situation for Paul Dumbrell. If he won this race, he could take the championship. At the moment, Cam Waters leads this race.
Jeff Emery in the pit lane.
Aaron Russell gets out. His stop is done.
And this is a pit lane penalty for Steve Owen in the Finance Easy 40. Took over from Andre Heimgartner.
Interesting to find out what that was actually.
Yeah, we might have to get Rihanna to head on down to MW Motorsport to find out what was going on there. A little bit of a spill on the exit. But Jeff Emery rejoins, one of the most experienced drivers in the Dunlop Series.
Yeah, Aaron, I thought I just would address that with Andre Heimgartner. Andre, I'm really unfortunate that you guys have been given a drive-through penalty. Could you just underline what that exactly why exactly have you been given that penalty?
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but what happened was one of the team members didn't have the appropriate wear on, and unfortunately that's the rules, and we've been penalised for it, which sort of puts us far behind now. But hopefully the safety car, Steve, you know, he's a good driver, so hopefully we can try and get some positions back.
Thanks so much, Andre.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, Steve Owen, 2-time Dunlop Series champ, and alongside Mark Winterbottom for the big race tomorrow. Paul Morris here in the United Falcon. Of course, he will be with Chaz Mostert in tomorrow's main race. He's third at the moment. Ant Pedersen has leapfrogged up the order to the lead in the third. Well, there's 3 Eggleston Motorsport cars. He's the lead Eggleston car at the moment because he is the leader. Paul Morris here is second on the road. Remember, Ant Pedersen, Greg, was in earlier on under those early safety cars, topping up on fuel in the early laps.
So here, a similar strategy to Cam Waters. So he's still to come through the pit lane, stop at his pit, put some fuel in the car. He has 42 odd seconds ahead of Cam Waters at the moment, who has about a 9 or so second lead over Paul Dumbrell. So as I say, that has worked out a treat for the NZ Falcon. As we look at Morgan Haber getting his servicing done down at FPR. Crew going to work. Back behind the line. Now the refueling can start. A much longer process, doing the 2 separate parts of the pit stop at different times. Morris through the dipper. Running in second spot to Ant Pedersen, still to do his pit stop. Haber on his way. FPR's finished the refueling. Waters now into third position, with most of the cars now being through the pit lane for their pit stops, their mandatory tyre change and fuel stop. Morris must be looking pretty close to heading to the pit lane.
And he'll get a drink of what's on his car. United E85, of course, fueling both the Dunlop Series and the V8 Supercar Championship. He's staying out. The dude's doing another lap. Remember those safety car laps earlier on, they've helped extend the fuel window of how far he can go. But he still must take 80 litres minimum on. Doesn't matter how much he needs to get home. That's the requirement in the regulations for this race. Standing back from it, the concept of the mini enduro, your take, my take, I like it. I think it's been a great thing for the category, and it hasn't been too heavily controlled in the pit stop rules, so there's flexibility for strategy. You want a co-driver, you can have a co-driver. You want to pit early and take a little bit of fuel, you can. You want to save your tyre stop till later. It's made it wide open and really given us an interesting race.
It looks good, or it's worked really well. Obviously a couple of safety cars early on. At the moment, these guys are doing a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done a really good job for the Dunlop Series, and Pedersen is out in front, lap 26 at Mount Panorama. Well, Tim Slade's got a faster car tomorrow, but he's already been to the mountain this weekend and seen the faithful on top of the hill. He took his great mate James Courtney up with him. They gave away $500 to the best Holden campsite with thanks to Super Cheap Auto. What a funny feeling that they had more fun than the campers up there. They had a ball, though, on top of the mountain. I'm not sure that check has survived the last couple of days, but nevertheless, they were right up there with the faithful. This is Paul Dumbrell. He's at the top of the mountain. Don't forget, this afternoon, 5 p.m, the top 10 shootout live here on 7 as we determine pole position for tomorrow's 54th running of the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. This man won't be in it. His co-driver, Jamie Whincup, won't be in it. But at the moment, Paul Dumbrell is third. He's chasing Cameron Waters to try to win this Dunlop Series 250-kilometre enduro. And Pedersen is the leader on the road, but must pit for a splash of fuel and to change tyres. So it is a war between Ford and Holden, Cam Waters and Paul Dumbrell, Ford Performance Racing, and Eggleston Motorsport, who is supported and connected to 888. So nothing's really changed from what goes on in the main game half the time.
I think he's pretty familiar with all that, but he looks a bit more urgent, as I said before, than what he was earlier in the race. I don't think that worked out the way they had planned, that he was going to come out of the pits in second spot. One of the major elements, though, because he's pitted later, his tyre set will be better for the run home. Cam Waters has had to do more work on the rubber that he's got. They're only allowed 8 tyres, 2 sets for qualifying in the race, so they've got to use both sets in the race. Of course, they'll make that change at the pit stop, so it's about pace. Paul Dumbrell's fastest lap in this race, 2 minutes 7.4. Cam Waters, 2 minute 9.2. There's pace in car number 88. At the moment, he's 6.7 seconds behind with lots of time to catch it up.
Yeah, he's a little bit quicker at the moment. It was about 7/10 of a second on that last lap, dealing with a little bit of traffic also. But he's got some speed. Here's Ant Pedersen. He leads the way at the moment, but he's still got to tour pit lane one more time.
He should, Greg, come out about 4th, so it still will be a net gain. Remember, he started 7th. Oh, Jeff Emery in the fence. That's the exit of Forrest's elbow. And that is nasty. The ex-Craiglown's Commodore has been biffed. It's bounced off the outside wall.
Safety car forces on flag, safety car stand
Safety
by.
car. And Pedersen, where is he on track?
He's on his way around. And what Jeff Emery's done here, he's hit the outside wall and bounced back to the inside.
Potentially as he clipped the inside of the wall, maybe to send the car off in that direction.
The irony there, the guy sitting in race control there, Jason Barguana, knows all about it.
The car we're wanting to pick up is car 38.
Remember that the Holden Young Lions car, 1997 in the warm-up, similar scenario, came to rest in the same spot. Now, Ant Pedersen, the leader of the race, has not gone across the control line. He can come in under safety car. That is permitted under the rules of the Wilson Medic 1 Enduro here in the Dunlop Series. Here's how it happened.
Did he clip the inside? We didn't see it, but he was on a very, very strange angle. He's hit that wall very early on too, Aaron.
Oh, nasty stuff.
That's concrete at its absolute worst there. A lot of damage to the ex-888 car.
Yeah, no good. Steve Owen, the next car on the road to go on through. Bang. Well, that gives us a safety car. It lets Ant Pedersen come on into the lane. It hands the lead to Cameron Waters. We've got an exciting finish to this one. Stay with us. More from Bathurst in a moment. Back at Bathurst, and this is what they are chasing this weekend, the Peter Brock Trophy. 2 men tomorrow get the real one. You could, though, have your own replica. Of course, it was released in 2006. The details there on the website. And, of course, the man, the king, 9-time winner Peter Brock. A lithogram available. Of course, there are the 9 wins. The first in 72, the last in 87, and a piece of his jacket from his last trip here in terms of the 1000 back in 2004 with the Holden Racing team. head to the website for further details. Run a safety car in the Dunlop Series at Bathurst. The clean-up is still underway with Jeff Emery's car damaged at Forest Elbow. Cam Waters is the leader behind the safety car. Paul Dumbrell, third in the queue, second in the race. We are going to be set for a great sprint home. Let's take a break from Bathurst and come back for the finish of this Dunlop Series race. It's about to be a good one. Back at Bathurst, safety car on the road. Cam Waters leads the way. Restart not too far away. It will be he versus Paul Dumbrell versus Chris Pither for the win in the first 250-kilometre enduro for the Dunlop Series here at the Mountain.
And someone who's really looking forward to the end of this race is Jack Perkins, because your co-driver, Cam Waters, is sitting really nice in this one.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I mean, this is why we picked him, because he was going to be doing this race, and it's with FPR. And, you know, they've changed the strategy a bit, and he's on older tyres than Dumbrell, but he'll have the elbows out here. I know Cam, he wants to win more than anyone, but if he does get passed by Paul, that guy's won the Bathurst 1000, so it's not bad to finish second behind him. But it's good miles for tomorrow, and looking forward to the main race.
And you're looking at the clock because you're counting down, because you are taking part in the top 10 shootout this afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? 2 hours 45 to go, and we've got the shootout. So get one big lap this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. Might go and sneak in the truck later, listen to some music, or have a quick sleep. But no, I'm really pumped up. Can't wait. Really stoked to get in the shootout. It's just great for our whole team, Joel, when everyone that's involved, and can't wait.
We're pumped up to see you in it. Good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Looking forward to it, of course. It's live today on 7, 5 p.m. as we determine pole position for the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Of course, Jack's dad, Larry, has done it before, 1993. Let's see what Jack can do at 5 p.m. this afternoon when the top 10 from yesterday will run. In fact, it will be the 11th car from yesterday in, because remember, Garth Tander is out. Car number 2, too badly damaged earlier today in a practice accident with Warren Luff. That has elevated the sister Holden Racing Team car, car 22 of James Courtney and man alongside me, Greg Murphy, into the shootout field for this afternoon. But let's focus here on the Dunlop Series. Cameron Waters, some nice pit stop strategy earlier on, has helped get him to the front. He's on older tyres. Paul Dumbrell stopped not too long ago. He's on younger tyres. He's got pace. He led the race all the way through to this point. Restart, the third time we've got it rolling at Mount Panorama after 3 safety cars. Dumbrell clears the lap car of Michael Hector. That's Chris Pither just behind. He's third in the race. And the Icebreak Coffee Commodore, Paul Morris, is fourth. Andrew Jones next from Todd Hazelwood and Ant Pedersen. But it's really about Waters v Dumbrell.
It definitely is, but we've seen so far today the speed of Dumbrell has been quite a lot quicker than everybody else. And we'll just have to see as Morris goes up the inside of Hector into turn 2 as well. Andrew Jones follows. We'll have to see if Waters has the pace. I don't know if he's going to have it. Too wide into the cutting. Sees a bit of a traffic jam. There's a touch. Hector gets a touch.
Gee, lap cars involved here with guys who are keen to make space.
Look at the gap now. Pither's got over Morris. Oh, the leaders.
And it's hard for Michael Hector here. He's a lap car, but there's nowhere really to pull over across the top of the mountain. Jim Pollicina's doing a good job. He's out of the way. Hector has got them bottled behind. Todd Hazelwood, Ant Pedersen, Aaron Russell. They'll be off the rev limiter at the moment. They need to get past. Now he moves over and they can sweep on through and race on.
No, he's not a good spot on this place to try and move out of the way. He's going over Skyline, trying to get out of the way. He's done a pretty good job. Here's the leaders, back to the front. A little bit of a lock-up from Cam Waters. Into the elbow. Hard on the gas. Dumbrell, very close. He'll get a bit of a toe. This time down Conrod Straight. Waters moves over, trying to break it.
And remember, Greg, we're on a time-certain finish here. I don't think we'll quite get the full 41 laps in. We'll go close, but we'll be a couple short, I would say. Dumbrell's got car speed. He led earlier on. He did a 2:07.4 back on lap 21. He's on younger tyres. He's in a position here to win the race. If he wins the race, he wins the series, because his main contender, Ash Walsh, crashed earlier on. He's out of the race. Dumbrell was 4 points coming into the weekend. Now Waters is sideways. Here's the moment. Dumbrell to go to the inside.
He's going to let him in there
to make it really defensive, but he can't. There's too much road there for Dumbrell to play with. Waters has not got the grip. Dumbrell's got the lead.
And that was a bit easier than I thought it was going to be. Waters got very wide on the exit of the last turn, coming to the start-finish line. Got the NZ Falcon up on top of the curb into the grass, and that's all Paul Dumbrell needed.
And you'd expect now that the Royal Wolf Commodore will drive away. It's on a younger set of tyres. Waters has done a good job. He's probably his bigger concern now is the guy behind him, Chris Pither, and the Ice Break Coffee Commodore, as they fight for this podium position. It's Dumbrell, Waters, Pither, 1, 2 and 3. Big margin back now to Andrew Jones. Paul Morris in 5th.
Here's the replay into the last corner. He just ran a bit wide, put it up on the curb. Oh, just enough to give Paul Dumbrell what he needed to get his nose underneath into the first turn. He moved him over, but there wasn't much he could do. The Eggleston Motorsport Commodore was coming through. You can hear the tyres turn through the turn, just shuddering away.
And Dumbrell licks his lips because here's the opportunity. There's enough road to go on. There's overlap. Cam can't quite cover it off. And Dumbrell goes through to the lead. He led the race earlier on. He started from pole. This is the fight in the back half of the top 10. They've all got themselves into rhythm now for this run on home. That's Todd Hazel with the white Ford, 6th. Aaron Russell, Ann Pedersen, Gary Jacobson. Macaulay Jones is 10th in the Rockstar Commodore. And remember, earlier on, he was punted here into a spin in the early stages. That's been a great fight back.
He's recovered nicely. They had a good pit stop. BJR crew doing an awesome job there to turn all their cars around. Chris Pither, as we said, he's back in 3rd position, just behind Cam Waters. Haber down the inside of Macaulay Jones. We're just talking about him. Gets the move done. There's Steve Owen. He had that drive-through penalty. One of the crew members not wearing the correct safety items, and he had to do a pit lane. He's trying to get a bit of a recovery going here. That'll continue. The 2 Eggleston Motorsport cars here. Jacobson, Pedersen, they've reversed their positions. Pedersen just ahead of his teammate. Owen looking down the inside. We just saw a glimpse of him here. Here he is on Haber, teammates.
And remember that Andre Heimgartner, the young Kiwi, started the race in this car that he drives full-time in the Dunlop series for Matthew White's team. But up front, Dumbrell, last time around, a 2:09.4. Cam Waters at 10.5, 10.6, I should say. Chris Pither at 10.1. So Pither is still a red-hot chance to grab 2nd spot. And, of course, he'll team up with Dale Wood for tomorrow's main race. That's Aaron McGill's car that's behind the fence at McPhillamy Park. Great shot, drop off the top, skyline, the Essence, Dipper, world-famous stuff. And some young guys here getting their shot when the spotlight's on them Saturday afternoon at Bathurst in the Dunlop series. This is a perfect chance for them to learn about how these cars change over a race distance, to adjust them on the run, deal with pit stops. The stuff that some of these young guys have learned in the last 70-odd minutes has been valuable.
A massive opportunity. Someone like Ann Pedersen, who gets to start the great race tomorrow in the Super Cheap, Super Cheap Auto 1000 in the Super Black Racing.
Oh, that'll trip someone tomorrow.
That's tripped me up just now. What a great chance for him. He's getting a lot of laps. He's obviously been building up to this year. Oh, he's got a problem out of the chase. Jacobson gives him a bit of a nudge. He's talking about he's off to pit lane. Something happened there.
Now there's damage to the front of that car, which we saw there when we picked this car up. So it's a shame for Ann Pedersen, rolling back into the lane. Had run the late stop strategy, but is now in trouble.
Hasn't quite paid off, but he's obviously an issue there that's forced him to come to pit lane again. But he's the young guy that's doing a lot of racing at the moment. Great opportunity, as we said, to be in the big race tomorrow with the new Super Black Racing outfit from New Zealand, run by FPR. Him and Andre Heimgartner will be paired up, both getting massive amount of laps this weekend. But look at the gap now, stretching pretty easily. A 2:08.4, 1 second faster exactly to Cam Waters on the last lap. So he's pretty comfortable. Eggleston team going to work.
So while one of the Eggleston cars leads the race, they've got another one in 8th, and they've got their 3rd one in pit lane at the moment. But Paul Dumbrell counting down just over 7 minutes on the clock. We should run 38 laps for this time certain finish, originally scheduled for 41, but we've had multiple safety car appearances. This was exiting the chase. Pedersen slowing teammate Gary Jacobson right behind. You know where this is going, don't you?
Well, luckily it was only just a little nudge in the back, but clearly an issue that slowed him through the centre of the corner. We've seen that happen a few times before. The cars behind close up very quickly. Gives him a bit of a rub across the back bumper. But fortunately, that was the worst it got. Here we are, the race leader doing it easy. Teammate.
Oh, he's in deep in the chase.
He was doing it easy.
Right. That got the attention of Dan Crone and John Russell at Eggleston Motorsport. He had to get it back there and make sure it didn't drop off the road. I don't like the body language there.
It didn't go into gear by the looks of it. No. He went to shift down to that last cog into second gear. It didn't look like it went in nice. He locked a bit of the rears when it finally went into gear. And the gap has closed. The gap has just come back down a little bit. A 9.9 to a 9.1. So he lost a lot of time, not just in that last exchange. Look at him trying to push the gear lever in there, Aaron. And he just kept it on the black stuff.
Keep an eye on this.
I don't know if that was a gearbox problem or just a misshift on the part of Paul Dumbrell.
Gives Cam Waters a little bit of a taste. Sees a little error. He's holding on to second quite comfortably. Pither has not been able to go quite with the NZ Ford. So we're on the clock. 5.5 minutes for Paul Dumbrell to bring home the Eggleston Motorsport Commodore. This is the car that Casey Stoner drove last year here at Bathurst in the Dunlop Series. It won the big race in 2010 in that 1-2 for Team Vodafone with Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife at the helm. This is a team that's really lifted the game in the Dunlop Series, and this is why Paul Dumbrell is racing in this car in this series this year, to make sure that he minimises the errors, that there's no rust, that he's race ready and sharp for the big job tomorrow. And boy, they've got a big job here. Jamie Whincup starting down the back to try to keep Jamie's tilt for the 6th championship on target.
It was an incredible qualifying yesterday. To see a couple of cars, obviously David Reynolds had that massive accident. Jamie Whincup trying very, very hard and had that little error going into the cutting, put that car in the fence, start from the back of the grid. Paul Dumbrell, though, he's getting his job done, playing his part for Triple Eight Racing.
But it could
much better that time into second gear.
I was about to say, that was much better through the chase than the last time around. So just over 4 minutes to go. This will be the end of lap 35. Running to a time certain finish. And this is good for Paul. Lots of laps. Always nice to get a little bit of champagne and a trophy as well. But tomorrow he and Jamie Whincup have to come from outside the top 20. It's never been done to win the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Great job here from Todd Hazelwood, the youngster driving for Matt Stone's team. New backing from Tecalamet, who've stepped up for him this weekend. New livery on this car. First year in, first time here in a V8. He's been here before in a Formula 3 car. Aaron Russell in behind, and Steve Owen starting to work his way back up the order. He's position 8 at the moment. He's got car speed on these guys, so he should get to them before the checkered flag flies.
Now, I'm not going to take credit for it because Neil Crompton's just tapped me on the shoulder, but potentially, obviously, the difference between these cars and the car of the future, when you're in them and you're changing gear, the difference in the lever throw, the gear lever throw, is considerably different. Much longer gear lever in these cars versus the car of the future. And maybe that's something that Paul just had a little bit of a moment with there coming down to the chase. Maybe didn't push the lever forward far enough to get it into gear. He doesn't seem to be having any more problems with it. The gap has opened up again, but that could potentially be the issue in this situation.
Looking here, Greg, at Jack LeBrock in the Image Falcon 49. Crashed here yesterday in qualifying, right there in the fence. They patched it together. They've done a good job. They've got 2 cars here running not far apart because Roel Harris is a bit further down the road. He's at the moment under fire from Brett Hobson, who is driving for the R-Sport team. In 12 months since he drove here last year, he's lost 17 kilos. A great effort to get himself really fit and raring to go.
He's going to lose a few more on this one, I reckon.
I tell you what, he might end up getting another spot here because he's putting the pressure right on the back of Jack LeBrock, who has already been here to Bathurst once this year, had a podium in the 12 hour for Erebus early in the year with Will Davison and Greg Cricket. He's locked a break there at the elbow. That leaves him a little vulnerable. Then you've got Macaulay Jones and Tony D'Alberto, who is now in the Josh Keane TKR card there in car number 3 for this run to the line. But Dumbrell has really got this one under control. But there's plenty of stories up and down this pit lane. But I reckon overall, for the Dunlop Series, the drivers, the teams, everybody involved, it's been a big tick. This can become their mini Bathurst that they look forward to during the year. And it bloods not just drivers, but crew members, engineers, everyone involved. It's the whole point of this series to develop for the main game.
But you can imagine how much different it will be next year. They've done it the first time. They now know what to expect. They've got the experience, and they can fine-tune, hone some of those skills and work on some of those areas, knowing if this is going to happen next year, what they need to do.
And of course, one round left to go for the Dunlop Series at Sydney Olympic Park at the Sydney NRMA 500. Paul Dumbrell, champion for this category back in 2002. Back in the days when they did race here at Bathurst in a single Saturday afternoon race, but it was not a part of the championship, so hence Paul never actually took part in those races. He's very much a part of this one at the top of the mountain. There's the gap, second spot, nice job from Cam Waters. He's got a big responsibility tomorrow, pairing up with Jack Perkins. Had a crash earlier in the weekend in the Jeld-Wen Ford, but this is good for his confidence. This will be great when he gets in that car tomorrow morning for the warm-up.
I think it's given him a chance just to, you know, obviously find a rhythm, get in here, concentrate on the job at hand without any other sort of influences sort of in his head. He just had to get in his own car, the car that he knows, drive 40-odd laps. And this is great for him tomorrow. He's going to have to do that in a stint probably tomorrow, maybe a double stint. So it prepares him in more ways than one. He's been nice and smooth, not able to compete at the same level as Paul Dumbrell today. Chris Pither deserves a good mention. The strategy of Cam Waters has just put him in between Pither and Dumbrell and cost Pither that one spot that he had early in the race. But he's driven very smoothly. The BJR crew have done an awesome job this weekend running these cars for Andrew Jones, Chris Pither, Macaulay Jones, and the 3 cars in the main game. Here's Paul Dumbrell. Comes around to complete another lap.
One more to go, Greg.
One to go.
Time is elapsed for our time certain finish, so it's the time plus 1 lap. So 6.2 kilometres between Paul Dumbrell and a win on Saturday afternoon here at Mount Panorama.
You get the feel for Ash Walsh.
Yeah.
His race ended in the fence at the top of the mountain pretty early on, brought out a safety car, and really disappointing end to his championship. Being that this will be enough for Paul Dumbrell to take it with 1 round remaining.
We should point out too, Greg, that Dumbrell and Walsh were far enough in front that they were still going to be the top 2, depending on what the order would be, coming out of this weekend. So Walsh will retain second in the championship going into the final round on the streets of Sydney, but it brings Andre Heimgartner closer, it brings Chris Pither closer. The thing that you have to consider, although Dumbrell and Walsh are the guys who are fighting for the crown, there's just 12 points coming in this weekend between 4th and 8th in the championship, so it's a really even spread. Top of the hill for the final time. Paul Dumbrell is on his way home. Led the early part of the race, qualified on pole, and bringing it home. And remember, we did the maths earlier on. Ash Walsh out of the race. Paul Morris with drama, left rear on the last lap. The United Ford has got a flat. He's probably got to do another 5Ks to get to the end of the lap.
He's done a pretty good job too, Paul Morris, to get himself into the top 5. So that's pretty disappointing. Not far to go now. Last lap of Conrod Straight for today. Dumbrell into the chase. Did he make sure he gets that last gear this time?
He got it right that time. Tomorrow he's got a big job. Today he had his own job though. Paul Dumbrell will deliver 300 points to win the first Dunlop Series Enduro at the mountain. It's not just a race win, it's a series win. Paul Dumbrell and Eggleston Motorsport conquer the mountain on Saturday afternoon at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Great job from the 2002 Dunlop Series champ. The fight for the minors is still going. Steve Owen gives that Russell a punch, and that sends poor Gary Jacobson off into the sand. Oh, can he get out?
No, that's done.
Oh, no. Gutted. He was playing his own game on the outside. The other two got together. He ends up in the bunker. Oh, this mountain is cruel. Let's have a look again. Aaron Russell covering the line. Steve Owen gives him a tap.
Oh, he did too, Steve Owen. That's going to be trouble for Heimgartner.
And remember, any penalty both drivers get, so Andre Heimgartner could end up with a little bit of a docking of the points. Let's recap the results. Paul Dumbrell wins. Nice job, Cam Waters. Second, Chris Pither rounds out the podium from Andrew Jones. Todd Hazelwood, first time in the V8 at Bathurst, and he finishes fifth. Great job. Aaron Russell, Heimgartner and Owen Morgan Haber, nice job. Ryle Harris and Jack LeBrock bouncing back from crashes yesterday to finish in the 10. Coming up, big day on the mountain. Edwina has been meeting the campers at the top of Mount Panorama. Oh, there's some crazy stuff up there. Support racing, you want it, we've got it. Porsche Carrera Cup, V8 Utes, Aussie racing cars, and Neil Crompton will catch up with the defending champ of this race, Mark Winterbottom, defending the Peter Brock Trophy at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. And then live, the fight for pole position, the top 10 shootout, and we will sort the pole for the big race tomorrow. It's been a big day at Bathurst. There's lots more to come. Paul Dumbrell, the winner of the Dunlop Series Enduro, leads it on home. Number one, not just for the race, but he clinches the title for 2014, 12 years after he took his first Dunlop Series crown. Rihanna is with our winner.
Congratulations, Paul Dumbrell, winner of our first Wilson Medic 1 Enduro, and that wraps up the Dunlop Series Championship.
Well, certainly didn't expect that. Obviously, we had great pace all weekend, but obviously, you know, in the race, it obviously came home, and unfortunately, it's not how you want to win the championship. It's the Ash out there, but looking forward to go have a big battle with him at Homebush. But it's a bit of deja vu. I think I won the championship in 2002, so 12 years ago. Geez, I certainly aged and lost a little bit of hair. So hey, it's all good fun, and now for the big race tomorrow.
Awesome job. Get up there and enjoy the podium.
No worries, thank you.
Done a great job, Paul Dumbrell. Let's have a look at how it sits with 1 round to go. 300 points on the line, so he cannot be caught. Ash Walsh second, Cam Waters third from Chris Pither, and Andre Heimgartner slips back from third to fifth in the points. Paul Morris 10th overall. 1 round to go, 300 points left on the line. Let's head to the podium, though, with Rihanna Korean.
What a way to kick off the endurance races this weekend. And introducing the winning drivers of the Dunlop Series Wilson Medic 1 Enduro. Third place driver, Chris Pither, Icebreak Racing. Second place driver, Cameron Waters, Team NZ FPR. And first place driver, Paul Dumbrell, Elguston Motorsport Royal Wolf. And presenting the winning trophies for the Dunlop Series, Wilson Medic 1 Enduro. The third place trophy, Paul Brazier, General Manager Business Services, Wilson Security. The second place trophy, Gary Koch, Vice Chairman, Wilson Group. And the first place trophy, Kevin Fitzsimons, V8 Supercars Operations Manager, Dunlop. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2014 Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 Dunlop Series Wilson Medic 1 Enduro winners.
Paul Dumbrell gets the big trophy. We're counting down to Touring Car Master. Stay with us. They'll be up next. But let's go to the break. Let's go for a hot lap of the mountain with James Courtney. Thanks to GoPro.